So we had a major over the weekend. I don't know if you watched any of this, if you were consuming the content that took place. Perhaps not. But Bryson DeChambeau gets the win. Woo! You're excited? No? Well, he won the U.S. Open, wrapped up on Sunday in North Carolina. Second time with the best shot of his life for the win. Oh, my God. 18th hole, Pinehurst, number 2. And if you're a golf nerd, you know what I'm talking about. People will reminisce about this and say, oh, can you believe the shot that he made? But a dagger, an absolute dagger to Rory McIlroy in the final hour or so as the crow flies. DeChambeau wrapping up, putting the bow on the package there, up and down, all around, and from 55 yards out of a bunker, a 4-foot par putt, ends up at 1 over 71, ends up winning the championship as Rory McIlroy had been in position as the final day of the major went along there in Pinehurst, North Carolina there. The golfer that made headlines in the tabloids recently, Rory McIlroy, because of a divorce, and then he said, psych, just kidding, not getting divorced, and now he said, psych, I'm going to win the U.S. Open. No, I am not. No, I am not. So let us discuss. The question, did Bryson DeChambeau win the U.S. Open, or did Rory McIlroy gag it away? So I've got Eat Your Veggies, Froggy, and Scrub-a-Dub-Dub. And we will combine all of these things together, and we are going to make a migraine headache, which I'm pretty sure that Rory McIlroy had a migraine headache here. So the question, did Bryson DeChambeau win the Open, or did Rory McIlroy lose the Open? That is what's known as a rhetorical question. It's rather obvious here. While it was a roller coaster ride, and DeChambeau did have the lead at the start of the tournament, the final round at Pinehurst, even with that, as someone who is a casual observer of the product, I am not a regular customer of the product, I am not, but as someone who's a casual observer, make no mistake about it, okay? Well, we know, you and I both know, a pratfall when we see a pratfall, and Rory McIlroy got a first-class ticket on the Vomit Comet as the day progressed there on Sunday. He got off to a good start, but you got to finish what you start. And he did not finish what he started. And the entire thing was like a PSA. And I know a thing or two about PSAs. Doing the overnight show, a lot of PSAs, right? A lot of PSAs. And this was a PSA saying, hey, eat your veggies. Now, what do I mean by that? Pretty simple, right? Pretty simple here. When you think of the family of vegetables, Rory McIlroy, he ate his vegetables. Unfortunately, he ate the artichoke. That's his favorite vegetable, but a choke. How bad was it? McIlroy, he had a 2-shot lead with 5 holes to play, and then he missed not 1 but 2 putts within 4 yards. So, well, it's not easy to putt. Yeah, I know, but you're not a professional golfer. And here's the thing. What do I always say? There's no such thing as momentum, right? There's no such thing as momentum. No such thing as momentum. Stats tell you what has happened, not what's going to happen. This is a textbook example. If you watched the events at Pinehurst, you know exactly the number I'm about to give you because it tells you what has happened, not what's going to happen. Prior to Rory McIlroy clanking the first of the 2 failed punts, he was 496 out of 496 putting inside 3 feet this season on the PGA Tour. And then he did the thing you can't do at the time you can't do it. Now, near the end, McIlroy watched DeChambeau winning the tournament. He watched it on a monitor. It looked like they were taping an episode of that prankster show where they're to watch the monitor and tell the people doing the prank what to do next and all that. But he watched from the scorer's room and then sped away. More on that coming up as the streak continues now for Rory McIlroy as he ends now almost a 10-year, closing in on a decade since a major championship. And as you know in golf, nobody pays attention to the Waste Management Open. It's all about the majors. There's 4 of those a year, and that's it. All right, now, page 2. We cross over dribble now to the NBA. Now, when we last spoke in a previous episode of the show, we were anticipating that we were going to have the season end by the time we got back. There'd be no more finals games. That was it. But expect the unexpected. In pro bouncy ball, it did not end on Friday night. It did not. Scott Foster was brought in. He worked his magic there, Scott Foster, the extender. Of course, it really wasn't a case of Scott Foster having anything to do with the outcome of that game. If you saw any part of that game, and I did while I was eating fettuccine Alfredo on Friday, I was watching the game, and the way the game played out on Friday, there was an absolute Dallas mollywhopping of Boston. Now, the conspiratorial side of me would say, well, wait a minute here. Did somebody from big basketball call the Celtics and say, boys, take the night off here. We'll have you win on Monday night back home. We need an extra game on Monday night. But sure enough, whether that happened or not, there will be a Game 5 on a Monday night at the Garden there, the Parquet in Boston. Now, following the win, this is what I want to get to. So following the win, Kyrie said lukadoncic made a few people eat their words with his performance in Game 4. The Mavs get the blowout win there, a historical win for the basketball team from Texas, and a historical loss for the Celtics. So is that how you see it, though? The part where Kyrie Irving said that Luka made a few people eat their words. So there was no word eating that took place. I talked to several people who are critics. Not a single one of them ate any words. Bad job. Yet another failed take by Kyrie. We're going to throw the yellow laundry on the field here on this particular take. That's a false start penalty, premature, bad job by you, and we'll mark off the 5 yards. We'll replay the down. Shame on you, Kyrie. That is a foolish overreaction. Last I checked, the Boston Celtics are still up 3-1. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that win was worth like 3 or 4 games. I thought it was only worth 1. And just keeping it real here, because why not? What else can we do? Looking at this here, overreaction. Luka Doncic is the headliner. Is that right? Am I doing good so far? He's the headliner. He's the big Bafo Sacco star who has often had a froggy in his throat in the NBA Finals. Am I wrong on that? Disappearing for stretches in the second half, failing to get it done in the fourth quarter. The first 3 games, horrific numbers in the fourth quarter. No defense. He's a designated hitter. He does not play defense, does not believe in that. Foul trouble and complaining nonstop, thinking the world's out to get him. Because we all know in that business of basketball, they always screw over the star players in the NBA. They never give them a fair shake. Never, ever does a star player get the benefit of the doubt. Doesn't happen. So Game 5, Celtics will wrap it up on a Monday night, and then we can have their little parade. The little duck boat parade will be, Wednesday or Thursday of this week. Our last word, we go to the Bay Area. Another story bubbling up recently in pro bouncy ball. Why on God's green earth did Klay Thompson unfollow the Warriors on social media? People overreacting to this story as well. More here for a measured response. So why did Klay Thompson decide to unfollow the Warriors? We know he's going to be a free agent and is going to roam around the NBA, and he'll flirt with a bunch of different teams and see what happens. So it's fair to say, though, this was a act of hostility by Klay Thompson. It was an act of hostility by Klay Thompson. He sees the graffiti on the wall. He would like to stay riding his boat to work in San Francisco. He would like to continue that. But he realizes the odds of that are not particularly good, that the end is near. And so when I say this is an act of hostility, the Warriors, from what I've been told, they have offered him a contract, but it's not what he wanted. It's a, you call it a lowball offer. Although for me, I would think I won the lottery, and you likely would think you won the lottery. But if you're Klay Thompson, a player of that stature, this is an offensive offer. How dare you? So he is doing the old scrub-a-dub-dub and getting rid of all references to the Warriors on social media. Good luck on that. Now, we have read the book years ago. We read the book. Idiot's Guide to Athletes Unfollowing Teams on Social Media. I recommend it. It's good reading. So based on that and just living life here and seeing what's going on, you edit, you erase, and you disassociate. But you do that with a hostile edge, because really what Klay Thompson wants is he's deputizing the fan base to raise a hullabaloo. He wants the Warrior fans to do his bidding. That if enough noise goes on social media and radio shows and all forms of media, that you weaponize the fan base, you put pressure on the Warriors front office to pay you more money, to keep you around, keep the band together, even though the band hasn't worked the last few years, and that's the way it goes.